Hello, my name is Kevin.
I'm Lucas, and this is Millennial Cope Podcast.
All right, so Lucas, what do you want to talk about today?
Like I was saying, again, man, we've been, a lot of fun topics and kind of going back and forth and shit, very agreeable, but let's get a little bit more spicy today. Obviously, a lot of big changes happening in America. Midterms just ended. A lot of things are happening and to talk about. I think we should just kind of push into that.
Okay, go ahead.
Right, the biggest kind of news, in my opinion, they got to focus on right now, the Democrats actually still hold the Senate. They actually won the Senate still. I'm not really too sure about the House. I'm not even sure. Right, the Senate's more important. So Democrats control the Senate, and there was just talk of a big red wave coming, but that didn't happen. Where we're at is super interesting now, right? Because what I want to focus on talking about is, I think I saw a really cool statistic. It said that age 18 through 29, a lot of young voters came out, and so that age 18 to 29, they basically almost canceled out all the 65 plus voters. So all those boomers that are voting hardcore Republican, you have these huge progressive young people that are sitting there and just stop all of that.
Yeah, no, that's a rare thing with the young voters coming out to vote, just because that's big complaint the last couple of elections for them, right? Just young people don't like to vote, so who shows up consistently, right? Older people.
Older people.
Yeah,
right.
Those generations, so their voice gets heard. So it seems to me like you're saying that, a lot of young people came out and they were able to, the what's actually mattered and see that.
No, for sure. And that's what's kind of interesting to talk about too, because you're thinking by 2028, this shift could just even be more pronounced than ever. It's actually really interesting. You could argue, and I want your opinion on this too, because it's holy shit. It's if this really keeps going this way, then when are we actually how is the Republican Party going to come back? Are we really going to get a Republican president anytime soon? Because usually it flipped, it goes Democrat Republican, you see the shift. But dude, people coming up, it's going to get even more and more progressive. It seems like, and like I said, here in a couple of years, 2028, you're going to have a lot of these boomers dead, even more. And we just have this huge wave of progressive people coming in. So you think that's a real possibility that we just start seeing heavily Democrat, the Democrat Party just winning nonstop? Is that a possibility? You think?
I think it just depends, right? It's one data point, but are young people going to show up to vote every single election? Who knows, right? But on the other hand, you're saying with the Republican Party or GOP or whatever, right now they're in a tight corner because they're really not marketed for the younger generation, right? A lot of the younger generation really doesn't care about, let me say this, a lot of them are turned away by the one party issue, abortion, right?
Right, I was going to get into that too, because seriously, right? You have the Republican Party saying, we're going to stop you from getting an abortion.
Yeah.
Nearly every young person, seriously, it's you just basically 30 and below, 35 and below, you just lost the vote.
Yeah.
18 to 35, you're not voting for you now.
Yeah. Sorry, I misspoke. I didn't mean one party. I meant one issue, voters, right? A lot of the religious or abortion, pro-life people, right? They're going after them, but a lot of this generation cares more about not necessarily ownership of their body, but just their own rights and stuff like that. So it's they're spurning a whole generation, and not only that, I think the young generation too, they don't like a lot of the marketing or campaigning, because there's a lot of dog whistling with GOP, with certain, I'd say very nativist messaging, right? Anti-immigration and all that stuff. So it is fascinating because there is definitely a generational shift. The only thing I think I see maybe changing is, but this is probably a decade or two, is depending on where the policies lead, if like, people are getting taxed too much down the road, then you're going to see a lot of like that generation when they hit their 30s, like probably become more conservative. But for the time being, yeah, probably you're right. Next couple of years, it's going to be heavily skewed to that more progressive or younger generation.
Right. So you do think that? Yeah, that's interesting that you think that too, Ray. So yeah, because like I said, I mean, you look at this, it shows like a flip flop. Usually, kind of goes Democrat, Republican, especially with the presidents. It kind of flip flops that way.
Yeah.
But it's just like, man, like it seems to be such a big shift here at this point. Like we're at that turning point where seriously, like these boomers are dying off, and now these young people, I mean, everyone has these identity politics, and that just so heavily goes with the Democrat. These young people, they want to be heard, and they're not going to be heard under like the Republicans.
Yeah.
It seems like.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really heard from Democrats either, to be honest. But like, it's all about your niche marketing, right? So like, Democrats are definitely appealing to the younger generation, and
yeah. No, let me stop you there real quick too. Right, again, at the end of the day, I mean, you can argue it's all a crapshoot and both sides, whatever. But I'm not here to kind of get those answers. It's more about, like you said, the appealing, right? The Democrats are 100% more appealing to young people. That's fact.
Yeah. Like it's small little things too, right? Sorry, my little watch. Like for both parties in politics, right? I think name of the game is money, right? If you have money, you have more influence in politics, and it comes out in small little ways, right? But we're seeing these like lasting effects. So one of them is like people aren't able to afford stuff. I know the Democrats talk about like $15 minimum wage, right? But we're all seeing real effects of like people getting squeezed, inflation, things becoming unaffordable. So obviously in those times, like people go more to the outliers of politics. So either more far left, more far right, right? So on the flip side, you see more of like the MAGA, conservative side, or whatever you want to call it, the MAGA Republicans being like a response to that type of same issue, right? So people start going to the outliers, and we just see right here it's like more like left. But like I'm sure that's like a common sentiment of people, like things are tough economically, so we need some like drastic changes. And I mean, maybe not complete for this election, because I feel like abortion was probably a big driver for people that go to the polls as well. But yeah.
You mentioned there's a lot of good things like ping pong too, back and forth here. Yeah, you mentioned like the MAGA like Republicans. It's actually interesting to talk about too, because you have to wonder if Donald Trump is kind of split, right? The Republican Party is like split. You have like two groups just in like the Republicans now at this point, versus like the Democrats is not. There is no split there. It is one, more, definitely a lot more, solid kind of group, versus, that's people that split. Because I feel like Donald Trump, it's like maybe done more harm than good long term for the Republican Party now, because now you split this group and there's like, two different kind of sides.
Yeah.
So, you have to wonder like, well, now, people that like were MAGA Republicans, who's like Republican is like, who switches now to like the Democrat, and like vote because they're like tired of, dealing with this. I don't know. It's just really, really interesting to think about it. Again, like the long-term stuff. And I'll mention this too, though. I saw this. If there had to be like one tagline for this, and this is really interesting. I'm serious. It's my favorite thing I've heard in terms of this election. When people actually, like, when everyone actually does go out to vote, right? When you get everyone to vote, Republicans don't win. Now, why is that? Right?
Yeah, and I think that just goes back to like people usually vote for the best interest, right? So like, how are you marketing to them, right? Like saying you'll do like tax cuts or like all like only this one party stuff. It's one issue stuff like abortion, right? Like how's that necessarily appealing to the younger generation? So yeah, like you're gonna lose a lot of voters, and they basically pinhole or they corner themselves into a certain demographic, right? And it's going to be hard. Like it takes multiple years to recampaign or like shift what the party's about, right?
Yeah, no, they're in a tough corner, like you said earlier.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just really like that tagline. Kind of say it more plain. Like more plainly, when America gets off their ass and votes, more people. We've seen the Democrats come out on top when America off fucking ass. And right, we saw it, right? I mean, look back at the President Trump versus Biden. That broke records. That's the most votes we've ever freaking had for a presidential election, and look who came out on top because of it. So, what does that really mean? I mean, where you want to kind of take that conversation? I mean, you can take it lots of different ways, but I just want to mention that because, I love the tagline. I think it's definitely the most prominent thing to focus on it in some ways, because that goes to the electoral colleges and shit versus just like a majority, America is speaking, and it is Democrat right now. And if you're a Republican, buckle up because it's about to get real rough. There, it looks like, I mean,
wouldn't it be funny if it's 2024 just red wave again?
Yeah, listen, you never know what happens.
No, but I'm saying we have the opposite conversation. Just same time.
Yeah, we just go along with the flow. Let's say something listen, I don't. In terms of where I stand on this, because I'm pretty open about this stuff. I think this shit is too taboo. I don't know how we got into this taboo situation and shit anyways, but for me, I don't really lean towards Democrat. I mean, I actually, sorry, I absolutely lean towards Democrat, but I have no problem voting Republican if it makes sense.
Yeah.
Without question, I mean, I don't want to sound like a centrist. Is that even the correct word?
Have you seen that subreddit, enlightened centrism?
I mean, I think so, but is that the right term? I'm in the middle?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I hate
that.
Right. I don't like those, take those stances because that's a cop-out. That's at the end of the day, right? That's a cop-out. If you're not picking a side, then someone's getting oppressed. And I really do believe in that kind of stuff. So while I do want to kind of linger there, ultimately, yeah, I'm pretty comfortable saying I absolutely lean towards Democrat. And because of this is, look, I told, it's funny because I always hear these funny stories of my grandpa, is 95 years old. My grandma's 94. I don't know, they're still alive. I don't know if they actually voted at this point. I think at this point they probably couldn't even get to the damn voting place. Who knows? They may have gotten themselves there, but they voted still. I have to find out. I'll try to update us on that because it's super interesting, right? These are very old people that are still getting their voices heard. It's kind of, that's the only interesting topic. But I've always heard you can call my horror stories, if you will, or funny shit, if you will, about my grandpa, how he kind of gaslight grandma into voting a certain way. And think about it, right? This is a woman that grew up, does not have her driver's license, is paying for care of the household, right? This is something that you'll never see in America again, potentially, right? This kind of family unit like that, where grandpa had so much control. And again, it's not a good thing or a bad thing. I'm not here to talk about that, but he would just do things gaslight my grandma to vote a certain way. He wanted to, long story short, he just made sure that his opinion was heard, in terms of how my grandma was voting.
How do you do that?
And I said what?
What the gaslight?
He would hang. He would I'm not sure the news articles he said he would hang certain news articles in front of the fucking TV with tape. Take the newspaper, hang it, and certain articles in the newspaper, hang it in front of the TV. My grandma was aware and stuff. Just things like that, man. I mean, I could, yeah, it's just, again, I don't want to get too personal with this stuff, but it's just, my grandpa's an asshole, right? I mean,
it's interesting you say that too, because I think people do that to themselves as well, right? In terms of the news or information you get, right? You can definitely, I mean, we all know the trope of someone turning on Fox News every day, but you can still do that. It's the same thing with the YouTube algorithm, right?
Yeah, we're right. We talked about it before over actually a conversation on the phone.
Yeah.
We're just brainwashing our own selves too. We're all brainwashed. We really are. Especially, but I just remember I thought about it. It's just, I can try to go above and beyond it a little bit and just be aware that we're all brainwashed. I feel I am better at that. At least I'm aware of it. I can acknowledge it.
Well, no. That's why I don't necessarily agree with politics, but I do the Twitch streamer, YouTuber Destiny, because I do the way he gets to his arguments or like points as well, because, for example, like, with politics as with anything, like any choice in life, like, sometimes maybe it's more emotionally driven than logically driven, right? So when you look at pieces of information, like what he was saying, like, okay, you say this point, how did you get to that point? Like, is it just because you felt that way, or is it like you research, or like you see contradicting stuff, and then like look at it and then discard stuff? Like, he had talked with this other YouTuber, Sneeko. I think they're talking about masks or whatever. I know it's like overdone debate or talking point, but it's actually pretty interesting because like the guy Sneeko, he was like saying, "Oh, I don't want to wear it because I don't feel comfortable," right? Like, it's just annoying to wear. And he's like, "Okay, so but how did you come to that decision?" And then he had mentioned something about a study saying it's like not very effective. It's like, okay, what study did you read? He said like it's totally fine if that point comes based on the study, but the guy didn't even read the study, right? So like you should definitely question whatever belief or like point you have, because it's going to make your like thinking a lot more stronger, right? So like even I'll personally admit, like, you know, everyone's so busy, right? So I don't think you have to research everything, but you should be thinking, okay, like I think this way, but why do I think that way, right? Like, what's the underlying factual basis? It's okay to maybe gravitate towards like a point or principle based on like emotion, but it should like ultimately be based on research, studies, empirical evidence, right?
Yeah, well, listen, I mean, I know Destiny. I never actually watched any of his debates, but I've seen plenty of memes about him blowing the fuck out of people. Like, he's so good at debating people and stuff. I've actually never personally watched one myself.
I'll send you a short clip of that, like what I was just talking about. Like,
yeah, I've seen clips every now and then actually, but I've never watched like the whole. But no, it's interesting because you're getting into memes now and stuff, like, and jokes about people are now like, oh, what does the science say? And now that's become like an NPC thing to say too now. Like, well, you know, science says, you know, it's like, that's just NPC shit now at this point too.
Yeah, I totally get you're saying. I'm just saying like the same thing, but unironically, right? Like just examine your beliefs, because you can't change your mind about stuff, right? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, listen, I think the meme's funny, but it's fucking dumb as shit too. At the end of the day, I mean, listen, all these dogmas have their pitfalls, right? So just like if you're too religious, you can absolutely fall into some pitfalls if you rely on science too much. Well, I mean, there's emotional intelligence things that, you know, we know this. There are multiple ways to reach a decision, and really you should be using a combination of things.
Hey, Lucas, we're just humans with engineering opportunities, okay?
Right, yeah. You know, what's the science say? Just look at the study. Science says this. You know what I mean? But again, it's funny to me, by the end of the day, yeah, absolutely. Thank God the fucking science says that. Yeah. Because, I mean, listen, again, it's based on my own experience. Things I've researched and have helped and improved in my life has all become from science. Yeah. Again, luckily I've not fallen into one of those pitfalls yet, because when I talk about like fake information or wrong information, you have to like, you know, check and double check and stuff and really look into like yourself. But the information is out there. I believe that information is out there. Now, whether or not it's an actual real scientist writing it or an AI, you know, the AIs are starting to write fucking, you know, shit too now. It's like, you got to be careful.
Yeah.
But science is not pointing me in the wrong direction yet. So 100%, when the science says this, thank fucking God. Listen, because the science is usually right, you know. So that's fucking NPC at this point. Then fuck it, I'm an NPC. You know, we're all NPCs in some ways, and I guess that's where I'm an NPC at.
Yeah.
But no, 100%. I totally agree with you. You definitely have to look at that kind of information, and you know, how'd you reach that conclusion?
Yeah.
But
we'll make sure your thinking is clear.
Yeah, no, Desmond is. Yeah, he's funny. A lot of good memes there too.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think now, back to the politics side of it.
Yeah, I will say, like, long-term, one thing I'm worried about is like that underlying, like, I forgot the exact quote. Maybe I'll bring it up like while we're talking. But you remember the movie The Big Short?
I actually haven't seen it, but
dude, you love it. You should see it.
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
Yeah, it actually, I think it does a very good job explaining what happened in 2008 financial crisis, and then still like the lingering effects of 2008, right? Like, because you think about it, this decade, the 2010s, is essentially just an extension, or like, how do I say this? Like, things were very good for a while, and now we're just getting a repeat of 2008.
Yeah, short-term, long-term debt.
Yeah, like that. Yes, I mean, like the boom and bust cycles, right?
Yeah, but remember I mentioned that what's scary about it in terms of that kind of, concept is that it seems like these, long-term debt cycles, short-term debt cycles are happening a hell of a lot more fucking frequently. That's scary to think about.
Yeah.
But kind of back, but before we can maybe even get to that, though, like getting back up to like the politics side, right? Yes, in terms of like the information, it is absolutely like important. But at the end of the day, like you said, like people like are emotionally charged. I mean, yeah, listen, how the fuck are we voting? How are we really voting when it comes time to like vote? I mean, listen, I'll say it. I'm not some political genius by any means. I really for me, like history and like politics, that I'm a geography, those kind of like areas I'm weak at 100%. So I'm not gonna try to sit here and try to convince people that I'm some political genius or something. I'm not. I would like to think I know a little bit more than the average person, but my God, I'm not making really informed decisions when I go vote. No. I try to look at the basic principle here about what makes the most sense. I try to simplify it for myself. And back to that again, like that, like gaslighting shit. I told my girlfriend, I said this. I said, this is what I really believe in how it's happening. I said, because people, are in tough times. A lot of people are getting like money from like their parents and shit and stuff, like financial support them. I mean, look at the statistics. Seriously, look at the statistics. People 30 plus are still living with their fucking parents. This is what has to be done, right? You're either making $100,000 plus, so you're fucking living with someone else, or most likely like your parents, and they're giving like you money. So guess what? If you just voted in the election, this is how I voted. I said, do I want my parents to keep giving me money? Then I should vote Republican. I want to actually have systems in place that can help me out during tough times. I'm voting Democrat. That's how I looked at it. That's how I looked at it. I mean, seriously. And really even kind of going forward too, because again, like you said, the tax breaks and shit. Guess who's getting that money? Right, your parents. They're the ones that are sitting on huge like retirement accounts, most likely, and got like the money. So yeah, if you want them to keep giving you money, right? And again, right, then was saying, like, remember but guess what that is too, right? That's socialism. It's like, yeah, I fucking have no problem taking money from my fucking parents, but God forbid if the government gives me the money, then the country's ruined. It's so fucking retarded.
Yeah.
I'll say it's so fucking retarded. So that's how I can vote. That's how I look at it simply. Like again, vote Republican if you want your parents to have more money, because they'll give you more money then. But if you actually want to fucking try to help yourself, have systems in place when things go wrong, like you lose a job, unemployment, and blah, 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 blah. Again, I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but the Democrats absolutely seem to be trying to help more in that area. So the Democrat is how you should vote.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that's what I'm saying. Like, right now, I think that's probably more attractive to like a lot of people, but like long term, like maybe like a decade from now, when Gen Z or like, probably the tail end of our generation starts making a lot more money, like I think that's when, people are going to want to keep it, right? So it's always that balance, right? So
yeah, and that's his own other argument too, because right when you're speaking about perfect, that's actually something I want to talk about too, right? And remember, most people forget about what politics actually means. Yeah. Remember, politics was just made in the first place so someone can't come up behind the coconut, smash over the head, and steal your shit. That's why political theory boiled down to its ultimate, the smallest form is that. You have things in place so people can't fucking steal your shit, ultimately.
Yeah.
But then people get mad, oh my God, these Jim Crow laws and grandfather laws and telling black people to like vote like the Republicans. You can't get mad at them for that, because doing that did in fact help their party, and it worked. So it's like, yeah, get mad at like, like, yes, it's wrong as shit, but ultimately it's like, this is the system that's in place. That's politics. The party's going to do what's best for their interests, and that's why they make their decisions. But people forget that too, and it should go back, right back to like the person voting. Do the things that are going to like help you. Yeah, I would love to sit here and freaking vote Republican if it helped me freaking have the, I don't have the money.
Yeah.
And I'm not there yet. So, what does that mean as like a society? If we have all these people coming out in droves voting Democrat, it means that they don't get fucking money.
Yeah.
So something's going to change. And then, I would love everybody to start fucking voting like Republican. Because when that happens, that probably means society is fucking fixed and people got money in their pockets again.
Yeah.
The younger generations. But we're not there yet. How do we get there?
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Like with like the economic recessions or downturns, right? Like, the quote in the movie, like roughly speaking, was like for every, percentage point increase in, unemployment, I think there's like additional 40,000, 50,000 deaths associated with that number. Like when like things get hard, there's a lot more poverty, a lot more like desperation that causes people to look for more radicalized solutions on both sides, right? So yeah, I think that's the big sentiment, right? Like there's not a lot of economic opportunity, rents are getting higher, prices are getting higher, life's unaffordable unless you're getting assisted by family or you have a very high paying job. Yeah. So
right. Yeah. So it's like people are looking for a handout. Oh God. Yeah. Like, again, the bastards are watching this and getting upset about that. Screw you. Seriously. Yeah. People are looking for a handout. Absolutely. People are voting Democrat is looking for a handout because there is no fucking other opportunities and the money's not fucking in their pocket. It's in their parents' pocket.
Yeah.
So again, vote Republican if you like getting money for like your fucking family. But goddamn, if you want to help yourself, you better be fucking voting Democrat because that's your best fucking shot to actually get off your fucking ass and do something. Maybe.
Well, and it just depends on your situation too. Like if you're just doing well, then like
that's what I'm saying.
It's all for your best interest. But yeah, no, I don't know what to call the general like symptom or whatever the current climate. But like I think people feel that a lot of companies and people in the upper echelons or elites of society, right? They have all the capital to, buy up a lot of like rental property or home property or like assets right now, because the things are on a discount right now with the start of a recession or downturn. And you have like, companies like BlackRock, right? Like buying all these, residential homes.
Oh my God. I don't even.
No, but you know what I mean, right? Soaking up supply to, drive up demand. That comes in the form of higher rents. And then again, like people feel squeezed. That's the thing.
Yeah, no, it's good like you mentioned that. That's what I'm saying. We could talk an hour about that. Yeah, can you believe that? We have private companies buying up fucking houses and shit. So it's like, oh, you want to own a house? You gotta wait for your fucking parents to die. Yeah. Better fucking hope you get an inheritance from like your family, like you're gonna get the house because you're not gonna get it unless you're making $100,000+ and even then, I mean, shit.
And it's all about the marketing. So like you said, you're more on the left side. I'm probably more on the like capitalistic or like less government involvement side. But like you'd be a fool. I actually had this conversation with my buddy yesterday. Like you'd be a fool to think that like a lot of government programs are not useful. And I'll give you an example, like in terms of the marketing and like the general like feeling. Like for example, like when Elon Musk complains about stuff, like especially that's going on with government. A lot of his companies got a lot of government subsidies to start or continue. Like when first started out, like Tesla batteries, I think we got a huge government loan injection, right? So you have a lot of people with a lot of money, like billionaires, for example, that they're complaining about the system that they profited from, right? Or they're getting assisted. And at the end of the day, like, even though maybe I come out more on the individualistic side, like, everyone wants to think they built their own log cabin. That's not true, like, in the US, we have a lot of like government subsidies and things like enabling a lot of technological advancement, research from campuses, the whole infrastructure. So it's, a big thing I think about is like marketing and the current climate. Like I like that word. People are feeling squeezed,
They're feeling squeezed. No, yeah. You're making some really good points that I can, like I said, ping pong and jump off on. Seriously, because you mentioned it. Right, yeah, let's get into that too. Right, this is the Millennial Cope Podcast. We're here to cope. We're here to make sense for our people watching. You are better off. Like again, let it be known. Yeah, you are better off 100%. So you should listen. You should be voting like Republican. I wish I was in your position. I'd be voting fucking Republican too. But I'm not. So that's why I'm voting Democrat. People are going to get mad at me for that. It's like, again, the same reason, like I said, why the parties do what they do is the same reason why you should do what you have to do.
Yeah. And actually, okay, so this actually might come full circle with 1.2 is, like, remember I was saying when things get a little bit more economically desperate, like we tend to go to the opposite extremes, right? So like, I remember talking with someone, they were like, I don't understand how people like Trump. Like this was back around like 2018, 2016. And like the thing is like, whatever you want to say about him, like, he appears to be a straight shooter. He might not be, but like the marketing, like you definitely see that appeal at least for his base. But the thing is like, even if the way it comes off is like, comes off like a bully, but like that he's being a bully for the people like he's marketing to, right? So, a lot of those 2016, like MAGA Republicans, right? They actually felt someone was actually protecting them and like saying stuff they always had thought, right? Economically, politically, like exactly like that. So like with people feeling squeezed right now, like they're looking for that, but on the opposite side, right? Like someone who can actually stand up for them and like make them not feel squeezed. Because we tend to go to these,
right.
not necessarily strong men, but you know what I mean, right? Like, hey, I got a solution.
That goes back to what you said earlier, right? Getting that emotionally charged.
Yeah.
That's emotional. That's not logical. They feel something. They feel a certain way. So they want to vote a certain way.
Yeah.
Again, that's fine. Like, that's fine. Like, listen, because like ultimately what I'm about to say is like not right, it's wrong, sure, but again, just to like make it as simple as dumb as possible and to kind of like understand what's happening right now is like, again, the Democrat Party, if you're poor, like the Democrat Party is for the poor people. If you're poor, you're voting Democrat. It's like, it gives them saying, you shouldn't be fucking mad at that. Makes no sense if you're fucking poor to vote Republican, you know. But again, if you got money, then guess what? Yeah, you better be voting like Republican. That's what I'm saying. That's where we're like that's where we're at. So right, if we want to get back to people voting like Republican, because you could argue that way too. You know, it's like a reflection of society in terms of how people like are voting. So yeah, right now America is poor and things are squeezed. Like you said, like people are feeling squeezed.
Yeah.
So if we want to get back to everyone voting like Republican, we got to get the money into the younger generation's pocket. And that's not happening. So again, like you mentioned earlier with identity politics and stuff, and like the squeeze feeling, guess how the next couple elections are going to go? Like we talked about, right? It's looking like it's going to start going Democrat a lot.
Yeah. But yeah, like it all comes with that. Like if the Democrats are not very effective, then they're going to have a lot of disillusioned voters, right? So they might not go Republican, but they might stop showing up. So it's the responsibility is on them to deliver, you know. So let's see if they can for the people who voted for them. But yeah, you know, this is a very interesting. Like this last decade's been very interesting. Certainly because we had a lot of like high highs economically, but I also feel like, and you probably attest to this as well, there's been a lot of examples of like kind of these like scam economics, right? So I kind of wanted to briefly talk about FTX. Have you heard about what happened there?
No, yeah. Cryptos and shit, everything's going to crap.
Yeah. No, like so like, you know, crypto in general just being a very attractive option, or like, oh, this is interesting for like the young generation, people wanting to get into investing in, oh, this may be a potential, you know, beanstalk or magical bean that can help me get some economic freedom, right? So, I don't have all the details, but it's fucking wild, man. I'll send you some videos here, but in a nutshell, what happened is this guy, SBF, I forgot his actual full name, but he started this, essentially, cryptocurrency exchange. So exchange, like basically where they got in trouble is they took deposits of people's money, and in their like fine print or like legalese in their, user agreement, they're saying that like, hey, your underlying cryptocurrency assets are yours, they're not ours. But they started acting like a bank where, or maybe I got this wrong, but they basically hedged your assets, took your assets. Basically, they stole from you in order to provide loans for like a sister corporation within the corporate structure. And they basically just invested all in their own like FTT token. So basically the token for the exchange. And then this is a little bit more like 48 Laws of Power. One of their rival exchanges had a huge lump sum of their FTT tokens, and they just dumped them in the market. So what happens when you sell like a big portion of your stock cryptocurrency? The price goes down, right? Because you're flooding the market with supply. And the crazy thing is like basically FTX started to go bankrupt, and they have their own history. The founder of FTX and the founder of Binance, they kind of don't like each other. So that's why comes more into the laws of power thing. It's just like, you can think about this as being a strategic sniper attack financially. Like his rival at Binance basically just dumped these tokens so the company would be in financial distress and he could just take over and buy them. But once they did the due diligence, they found out how fucked the exchange and company was. And basically, Lucas, let's say, for example, you had like $1,500, maybe $3,000 in the exchange. Basically, because of all this financial fuckery that FTX did, basically giving it to their version of a hedge firm and then like losing money on their FTT tokens, you basically can't withdraw your money anymore. So you basically lost $1,500, $3,000 immediately. It's be like your bank doing the same thing and then you have $0 in your account.
So hold on, just to be clear though,
yeah.
I'm again want to make sure I'm on the right page here.
Yeah.
Is FTX that's like an encompasses all of crypto itself, or is that like
no? It's just an exchange. Like Coinbase is an exchange, Binance is an exchange. Like
yeah. So this is that was like Coinbase. Sure.
Yeah, but
like a bank, like a bank. Okay, yeah, now it kind of.
Yeah, and sorry, I should be a little more clear too. Like their in-house or like sister corporation, hedge fund or whatever you want to call it, investment arm is called Alameda Research. So basically, this exchange was like taking your property, the currency, giving that value over to the Alameda Research or hedge fund part, and then they self-invested back into the FTT token, and then once their rival dumped the token, like the price went down. So basically, your cryptocurrency tokens got hedged and they lost the bet.
Right. So wait, hold on. So what are the tokens? What are the exact tokens called?
FTT.
FTT. So that is like that is something similar to like Dogecoin and Bitcoin.
Yeah. It's just their own version of the token for that exchange. And the crazy thing is, like, everyone painted like the CEO of FTX is like, oh, the most generous billionaire, like, and then like he's like some like financial wonder kid, apparently based on the stories, he did do some impressive things when he was younger at an investment firm at Jane Street, I think, which is known as like a high trade frequency quant firm. But he, when he first starting out, he actually, and this maybe be more legend than fact, so just obviously verify your research or take it with a grain of salt. But he was able to find arbitrage in the Bitcoin market between the United States and Japan and see there was a price difference. He basically made $20 million just like trading the Bitcoin price difference from that. So people thought he was bringing the same thing to FTX. But essentially what was happening, there's a lot of self-dealing, basically, like taking your assets and like using it to loan and then just losing everything. So people are speculating now if he's going to be on the run and now people I'm actually surprised people are going after the financial YouTubers, who like promoted FTX as well, right? This where it gets a little murky, I think personally, because, it'd be similar to having like, an advertisement for Coinbase, right? And then like when you have this marketing and you don't do diligence, you might think, oh, this could be like a long-term play. Like how does an exchange lose money, right? So, but people are still going after it because obviously when you accept advertisements, you should do due diligence, or you should only promote brands that you either use or like you essentially don't want to do any harm to your audience, right? So I just think the whole thing's interesting because this is another symptom of like the financial reality of this last decade, right? A lot of people like greatly benefited from the decade, but people are feeling that squeeze too, right? And to see examples of people either getting easy scamming money or like they're directly getting fucked by like companies taking their money. And in this case.
And I was going to say on one of our first podcasts, remember that too. It's like, listen, that's how society works now. Either you're figuring out how to scam the guy across the table or they're scamming you. I'm fucking serious. That is literally the majority of, if you want to make some serious money, is because people, like other people, like they're figuring out ways to like scam you. Yeah. I mean, too, like I mentioned something similar to that. You actually probably know about this too. Like, I know I haven't heard about this, like in Twitch, like the live streaming service, the platform and stuff. There's so many damn controversies with some of the biggest popular streamers doing like the gambling streams.
Yeah.
Hey man, this gambling site here, I'm winning so much money and it's like you get all their viewers are basically fucking going to these sites and spend so much money on gambling, and it's like, all a fucking scam. And there's been a lot of controversies. I can't like remember like specifics, but I know there's been like a couple of controversies with like over the past like year. It's like 5-6 years every now and then like you have like a little like pop up.
Yeah.
You know, like fucking scamming people off like going to these gambling sites and you're already subbing to them, giving them fucking donations, and now they're making millions of dollars off these gambling sites. Like what the fuck? I mean, people are stupid.
Well, and that brings up like a lot of things. Like I want to like talk about it because it's actually a pretty interesting topic. But I think at the end of the day, like you just want to, if you want to build a business, like it has to provide value to somebody, right? Like remember those 5 points I was talking about from the personal MBA book. Like it's so true. You gotta deliver value. You have to give it at a good cost. It has to be easy to use. People have to know about your product. But the big thing is you have to deliver value to other people. Like you can make money without doing that. You're scamming people like you're saying, but like these YouTubers have to really think. And I agree with like YouTubers like Spencer Cornelia or Coffeezilla. Like if someone's paying you money for advertising, let's say this podcast does very well in the next couple of years and get advertisement opportunities. You as a creator or creators should do due diligence. You should be very sure that you want to, because you basically, what is the advertisement, right? Like you're basically giving your social proof or approval saying that, yes, I want to align with this brand, right? But why are they doing it? Because at the end of the day, they have metrics for this. And like most of this marketing, when they're making money, it's a well-oiled machine. But they know when they give you money, they're able to market to so many people, X number of people, and make that much more money. So if these gambling streamers are making $120 million a year, you know for sure that the gambling company themselves is probably making 4x that off their users.
Oh yeah, that's
right. Like if it was not that effective per YouTube, obviously there's different prices, right? But whatever they're offering you, they know usually they can 2 to 5x they could get a 2 to 5x return on investment. So it's naive for these streamers to say like, oh, like I always advise my audience to start to gamble responsibly, and it's a losing game overall. But that's naive to think. You're taking the money. You have a moral duty to like just for yourself. I just want to think selfishly. Like you should really protect your brand, but you should like don't play dumb, right? Like you didn't pay this much money because it's effective, so you should know that. Who's losing the money? Like your audience. Who's getting the money? You, and most importantly, that company that you're aligned with.
Oh yeah, that's a good way of that's a good way to morally look at it. Just understand, like, your audience is actually the one losing the money. You're getting the money.
Yeah, and you're basically just vampiring your audience. But like what I'm trying to say is like when I create my own business and like again, I hope it we do pretty well on the podcast and like start like building our little media empire, right? I hope that we do the due diligence to align with brands we trust, and like even if we get that little like ick or like uneasy feeling, like nah, like the money's not important, right? Actually, one of my favorite lines from a book called 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem by Nathaniel Braden is the wealth is not important, the source of the wealth is important, right? Like obviously a lot of people could make money from scamming people or doing it unethical ways, but like that money is really just an illusion and fugazi, right? Like you're gonna be more proud if you actually put something valuable to society or valuable to your audience. At least me, like not everyone's gonna be like that, but like it's like a short term versus long term thing again, right? Like I don't know if I put myself in the mirror, like building something that I don't personally like, right?
No, yeah. I mean, listen, you kind of go into it deeper too, kind of ping pong off of that. Again, it's like you can change the definition of scamming. I mean, right? In terms of like those streamers that have like the gambling sites, I mean, that is full on fucking scamming, like illegal shit almost kind of stuff, right? And, but more so, you can just think of scamming in terms of someone is trying to sell you something. I mean, that's that's really what I mean too. It's like someone is trying to fucking sell you something. It's unfortunate. I mean, you don't have to look at it in terms of like the negative connotation per se, but right, again, I like ASMR, right? You don't like ASMR, but I do, right? There's people making noises and shit. But
not all of it, but like I'm sure you can get my feeling that some of it just makes me cringe.
No, some of it, that's why I say it because it's funny. Some of it is stupid. Some of it's actually really well done and shit.
Yeah.
Some of it is actually just extremely cringe. But again, right? These people freaking trying to like relax you and shit and stuff and blah blah blah. But then all of a sudden now they're getting so big and popular that they're fucking plugging in, advertisements. Buy this fucking product. It's nothing to do with fucking ASMR, but I fucking cared. Yeah. Buy this fucking mattress. Not buy this mattress and shit, and you sleep better.
Yeah.
Because you're relaxed. It actually kind of goes along with it. But I mean, but I'm saying the way that is scamming. You're getting scammed because again, what are you doing? You're sitting there wasting your fucking day watching someone else sell you something.
Yeah.
You're getting nothing. You're only there to be taken from. You're getting scammed in like a certain way. Yes, I believe that is true.
Well, I think we talked about this maybe a couple podcast episodes. Maybe it's just a personal conversation. Like your most valuable asset is like obviously your time, which leads to the downstream effect of like your attention and your dopamine, right? I was actually talking with my friends about this last night at dinner, but like how important your dopamine is, right? Cause that, the chase for dopamine drives a lot of your short-term and long-term thinking and decisions, right? So if you waste a lot of time on YouTube, right, someone's making money off your attention. So like you just gotta.
Oh yeah, all those YouTube shorts you're going through.
Yeah.
I'm giving those people money. Yeah, no, I'm getting scammed. I'm literally getting scammed. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
And then like at the end of the day, you just want to make sure that like when you're making choices, like it's intentional, right? Like with the algorithm, it's very easy to swipe on like YouTube Shorts or what TikTok, whatever version it is, right? But your attention is valuable. So, but it's an interesting thing about it because I remember hearing this book, what you're saying about the scam in terms of like advertisements, like everybody at all times is selling something, right? Like to quote the book, to sell is human, right? So
that's funny. Yeah, no, that's where we're at as a society. Yes, like you're literally either monetizing your hobbies or you're being left behind.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm glad we're finally on the board with fucking, let's monetize our fucking time.
Yeah.
Talking together, like I having all like this fun. But right, you think about it, it's like, wow, we're wasting so much fucking time. We're not getting anything out of it. And some people consider like it's sick, and it is sick that we have to like do this. But I'm glad we're doing it finally.
Well, I mean, I think it's all a perspective thing too, right? Like, I think part of it is like that was an interesting thought, like that started it, but it's also just fun to do, right? Like content generation, like the editing comes involved, a lot of the skills that you learn along the way. Like I know for you, for example, you can have a lot of fun like with video editing and getting your thoughts organized in like kind of one setting, right?
Yeah, it's just really gratifying to not have to sit here and like just talk in my head, and like now I can sit here and like put it somewhere and just hold myself accountable. Like I said, it's like it's a journal.
Yeah,
there's a lot of gratifying too, but again, also too, I'm arguing that it must be done at this point. It must be done because it's like if you're not, you're just sitting around on YouTube Shorts making someone else rich. This is where we're at. Everyone, like you said, to be human is to sell. I love that because that's all this shit is now, man. Everybody walking around and this is literally, you got to sell everything. That's his own like topic too, right? Where does that lead us down in terms of us as a society? Well, it's kind of something to think about.
Well, yeah. Like, it's funny because I had a thought like while we're talking this last 20 minutes too about like OnlyFans as well, because like that's like the biggest like hyper realized version of like selling and like kind of exploiting human biases and emotions, right? Because I think a lot of people feel lonely, but what's happening? You have a lot of like these top 1% OnlyFans creators. They have like whole teams now just dedicated to like doing chat, responding to their subscribers, right? So it's basically like a money siphon for these people who subscribe to the OnlyFans, right?
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, this is what's crazy about it too, right? Talk about this kind of platforms and stuff. I'm seeing like, somewhat pretty big YouTube channels and stuff but they have like their Patreon too, like their Patreons. It's pretty popular, right? You get extra cash. 500 Patreons paying $6 a month. You already just added $3,000, to like your income just from people, right? They are giving you 100% like upfront. I'm like giving like you money. That's not, the advertisement money off like the YouTube videos and like products and shit too. And it's just wild to think about just how you can like increase like your income. So again, it goes back to my point about like, this is why you gotta fucking like do this shit because You're just missing out. You're missing out. That's not living anymore. It's true. Again, it's like, if I have any like regrets, it's literally, not filming myself when I was younger. It's like, damn, like that's like the cope. It's like a millennial. It's like born too late. To experience like a lot of like this like good economic shit, and then born too early for like understanding that I need to be like doing YouTube shorts. Because my teenage years, if I was like recording myself doing all that shit, man, I don't have a popular channel. You know what I mean, right? All that screaming and stuff. People won't get that reference, but that would be a popular YouTube. That would be amazing. Imagine those YouTube shorts. Oh my God, that would blow up. That would blow up.
Mr. Beast had a quote, I think, he had a recent like podcast interview run. He was saying that like your favorite YouTube creator is making a lot more money than you think. So I like where you hit on that. Like it's not just Patreon. It's like all these different avenues that are possible from like a successful YouTube channel. You have potential merch, potential like product. Like this person has like Mr. Beast like selling the burgers, right? Or they have a hot sauce, or like just something niche to their audience.
Yeah. Listen, that's the whole idea about, right? Again, you want to cope? You want to sit here and watching this and you want to cope? And I got some news for everybody, right? As I'm saying, that's what I'm saying. It has to be done, right? Maybe just goes nowhere, whatever. But now I don't have to feel bad about it, right? Now I don't have to cope about it. That's the difference. Like you sit here and say that I know that I'm part of the game and I'm doing what absolutely has to be done to even have a chance to get there. That's what I'm saying. You don't understand it. If you want a chance to get there, you got to be doing this kind of shit now. And that sounds like the bootlicker kind of bullshit and stuff, like pick yourself up by the bootstraps and, you got 24 hours in like a day. You got to give it your all and that kind of crap. I hate that kind of bullshit, but at the end of the day, this is really how it has to be done. Yeah. So ultimately, right, do it for like yourself, and it doesn't go anywhere, whatever. You at least will feel better about it. You don't have to cope about what could have been.
Well, yeah, dude. Like we had past conversations about this too. Like it's just like, you are your own CEO, right? In your own brand. So like you should align yourself like that, right? The things you do. But I also think in terms of like, this content creation, just having your own product, which is you. Like I think one of the hidden benefits, maybe not financially, but you get to meet all these cool people if you're successful with a channel, like brand, right? Like I look at the like skyrocket growth from Lex Friedman's podcast. I think about all the cool people he's talking to on just his podcast now. Like,
yeah, you got Kanye West. Listen, you got Kanye West on there. That's all you need to like know where he's at.
Yeah. Like so, who knows? But like it's like similar to the 48 laws of power. You might not like the rules of the game, but you should know how the game is played. So you should be playing the game, or the game's going to be played against you.
You have to be a part of the game. That's what I was saying. Like, it sucks. It's unfortunate, but this is the way it has to be. Again, you're talking about, right. Again, Mitchell, again, I love that quote, right? Like you mentioned, right? To be human is to sell. That is literally the definition of where we're at in society right now, 100%. That's the tagline for society right now. So again, if you even want to have a chance, I'm talking about, again, it's a very small fucking chance. It's a shitty chance. Boo-hoo, glass half empty, whatever. But that's the way it is. That's the way it is. So you got to start doing it now. Yeah. Seriously, it sucks, but I'm so glad I know what's happening and I'm aware. And it is no more fucking sit there and work a 9-to-5 fucking job and think something good's going to come of it. That's just not how things are going. And there is, again, you're going to live a very sorry fucking life. I'm sorry, again, come at me, but. Seriously, like if you're thinking of your 9-to-5 is going to, raise a family and shit, that's just not how society works. You're so far behind. You're 50 years behind. You're living in some far-gotten past. There's so many different avenues, and it's going to even get even better or worse depending on how you look at it. But you got to start selling. You got to start selling.
Yeah.
So that's all. It kind of makes.
I get what you're saying too. I just think at the end of the day, it's always been like this, right? Like a person who's a good chatter, storyteller, like seller, they're always doing well, no matter the time period.
Yeah, Andrew Tate.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know he said it said that, but you think about like the courts from like, maybe like medieval England, right, with the War of Roses, who like, besides being royalty, like who do you think the how do they pronounce it again? Courtiers, or like the people in the court got there, right? They probably got it there for being able to sell, being cunning, and just being very observant.
Right. No. Andrew Tate didn't say that. I just thought of like that quote made me think of Andrew Tate. So that's why, again, like about selling, right? Andrew Tate he's the biggest. 2022 goes to Andrew Tate because he basically proved that, hey, I'm the best storyteller of 2022, and he was selling. And look what he did. That's his year, right? 2022 was his year because of those two things. He's a storyteller, and he knew how to fucking sell. So again, you want to have a chance, you got to start. You get me seriously. So yeah, I absolutely love it, man.
Dude. Something I think that'd be like cool, maybe for future segments. We don't have to do it every podcast, but maybe once a month. There's this actually Twitch streamer called Atrioc who does like Marketing Mondays, where it kind of breaks down like either like terrible or genius like marketing plays. Like I do think it'd be cool for us to analyze like people who are playing the game well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, again, the biggest, right. I'm thinking the biggest game. Yeah, what's her name again? Bella Delphine? Yeah. I mean, she's the one that proves she's the best seller that we've ever seen. Just straight up. The best seller we've ever seen, right? She's the one that came with the idea of selling bathwater. I mean, can you believe how fucking genius that is?
Yeah, because
I doubt we'll ever see something as genius as that for a long time.
Well, and this one time about like maybe the monthly marketing breakdowns, like, because I actually remember a lot of examples from her. We can go to Andrew Tate too, but I'll just kind of briefly summarize it. Maybe go in depth in a future episode. But for Belle Delphine, she realized that if she does something that's kind of like out there, but that is other creators on YouTube are able to make content from, like the bathwater stuff, right? Or gamer juice, or I forgot exactly what it's called, but that's like interesting enough that a lot of people want to like react to her and talk about that on their podcasts and their YouTube channels and make fun of it, right? But by them talking about it, it builds more people are going to know about her. And then the more and more people that know about her, they'll go to her OnlyFans or YouTube channel. And then she's going to get the people like basically just funneled into her sales funnel, right? Where she's able to sell and do that. So you're right. She did a lot of unique stuff that garnered attention, gave other YouTubers the ability to make reaction content from it. She's in the conversation, and then she just becomes bigger and bigger. What did Andrew Tate do, right? So he kind of did a similar thing. He's very polarizing. He went on a whole podcast circuit, right? Like for multiple months. His clientele, but also probably his marketing team, they have a bunch of YouTube Shorts channels, right? So every time he went on a podcast, they could just clip all the controversial and like, emotionally, high polarizing, highly engaging, controversial things he's saying. And then like, he's just stuck in the algorithm, right? So more and more people know about him. More and more people are able to be funneled into his like sales funnel. So like, basically what it goes down again, like they're all able to garner attention, have people talk about them, and then able to basically, hey, come this way, come to my sales funnel.
Yeah, like you said, you're funneling people in. I mean, I think you separated them, explained it very well, actually. Yeah. I mean, in terms of who I prefer, I think what Bella Delphine did was actually way more. Again, Andrew Tate did it on a global scale. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he made much more money than Bella Delphine has. But in terms of, who's like the more like genius, Bella Delphine, 100%. Like the things that like she did, you have to realize like the timing of it, like, right? If she didn't do it then, someone else would have come along and did it? But just try to think if like that movement wasn't there and if she was able to come in and have that same kind of success now, after the way Andrew Tate has done, I mean, you wouldn't stop hearing about her. She would be bigger than Andrew Tate. Just like the way in terms of like the timeline has like worked, Andrew Tate was able to come in and, go global with that shit. But, Bella Delphine, I think she's more of a genius because she really tapped into this gamer girl persona, right? And this, thing that was kind of stigmatized and like, not cool. And then she made it cool. And then she just sold all this like ridiculous shit. It's a genius.
Yeah.
I think so more so than Andrew Tate. But obviously, again, Andrew Tate's made a lot more money and he's done it like on a global scale. So you could argue he's a lot more smarter too. But I just think Bella's just more clever. It's crazy to think that even works. She sold bathwater. I mean, you can't beat that. You're never going to beat that.
Well, and the thing that was like, I think she was able to capitalize on a lot of things, like the gamer girl thing, probably like the uwu or like Japanese, like a lot of people,
the kawaii. I'm so cute.
Yeah. And like again, like she created content that other people could like clip and react to. Like I think the two instances like I can immediately think about is like one where she's doing this weird shit with like raw chicken, like in a skeleton. Like, I made my best friend.
I've seen some weird shit. You're right. I just forgot about.
But people can react to that and talk about it. Oh, it's interesting, and then like she's able to do like all these like kind of funny things to get people to keep talking to her. Like I remember like she made a tweet or like something in the video saying like, hey, if this gets 1 million likes, I'll like make a Pornhub account. And you know, she's like teasing her audience basically because she made a Pornhub account, but it was just for like safe for work content, right? And then like she's just able to get people to continue talking about her.
Yeah, again, it's crazy stuff. So 2022 goes to Andrew Tate, like you said, just going back to why we got into that, right? He's a storyteller and he's a seller. He's a great storyteller and he's a seller. That's what you need. Kind of segmenting too into the next thing, because again, right, this whole kind of like today, like politics and this kind of shit is all just like one and the same, right? But there's the thing, right? We just reached 8 billion population. Things just happened like two days ago. We just reached 8 billion. First time ever, the population of the world, 8 billion. Just initial thoughts, comments.
Well, guess how much of that 8 billion is our subscribers right now.
Yeah.
We got one. Let's go. Thank you, Tony.
Hey, shut up. We do it for you, bro.
Yeah, we do it for you.
But yeah, no. So yeah, I thought you were going to be like, who can we contribute to, like for like Elon Musk? Elon Musk has done his part, for that. It's trouble, yeah. But no, so we just reached 8 billion. But what's interesting about why I want to mention it, because right here are these changes that are happening. It's a big milestone that just happened. But what's about to happen too is actually very scary. And why Elon Musk is even talking about this is because we're about to have a really sharp, big decline. It's about to drop off significantly. I didn't actually like look at the numbers about just how far this could like go, but I think it is going to be like exponential. Like we're looking at dropping back under like 6 billion people potentially in the next like 20, 30 years. Seriously. Because more people aren't having sex. People don't want to have kids, right? Again, squeeze, right? People are getting squeezed.
So what you're saying, Lucas, is that I should have a lot of unprotected sex?
Yeah, we got to do our parts, man. We got to do our parts and get on the government welfare.
Just have to, it's good honest work,
Yeah, that's what's happening. So again, right, you guys, that's why I mentioned it goes back to like the squeeze, right? If people are getting squeezed, and like we see these, like we just reached this peak of things that, right, that 10-year decade's been getting, and then like now everyone's getting squeezed, and look what's going to happen to like the population. So what does that mean and stuff? I mean, we don't need to get into like too much in detail, but it's just kind of interesting and goes back to why these things are like are happening, and it's just something to be aware of and like really fucking think about, because we just hit a record of 8 billion people. That's fucking wild to think about. It's been 7 billion for like a long time, but we finally got there, and now here it comes. We're about to drop. We're about to drop pretty freaking far here. People don't want to have sex.
Do you want kids, Lucas?
We talked about that. I mean, you don't either, right?
I changed my mind over the last couple of years. I probably want either 3 or 5. Like, I like that.
Whoa, what the fuck? A couple years, dude. What? No, you never mentioned this. What? You want kids now?
Yeah, man. I think that'd be fun.
But you said you didn't believe in marriage. I thought you don't believe in marriage.
I mean, we'll see when we get there. I'm in no rush, but I'm saying I'm open to the idea.
Well, listen, if you're having kids when like you're 50 or 60, that makes sense. I mean, because remember, your sperm doesn't go away, so I mean, you can have kids and like you're older. I mean, when you try to, you have like some kind of timetable.
No timetable, but I think it'd be nice to have a big family.
That's what I'm saying. When would you? So what? Do you want to get? What? What's going on, dude? You just threw me underneath the bus, man. I feel betrayed now. The fuck? Past couple of years, my ass, man. We just talked about this like kind of recently, and you're like, I don't believe in marriage, and I don't believe in kids. It just happened. What the hell just happened? Did Helen get?
No. No. It's just like something to think about. Like I was definitely that mindset, like very hardcore a couple years ago, but just like seeing how important family has been like the last couple of years, like I think it's nice, right? I mean,
obviously, of course it's nice.
No, but like, obviously you have to afford it. Like, so I'm just saying, like, I'm open to the idea. You know, I'm not as hardly opposed as I was.
Okay, sure. I like that. I think that's a little bit more fair, a little bit more reasonable and logical. I'm a little bit more open to it. Sure. I mean, we got to talk more about this off the podcast. Holy shit. Yeah.
All right, guys, emergency pod.
Emergency. What the fuck?
Oh, actually, dude. Okay, like this is just a future note. But like in the future, if like some big event happens, we got to talk about it. Like we're totally free to do emergency pods. All right.
Yeah. No, but ask me, no, absolutely, I do not believe in having kids. Again, the only way I would ever have kids, and you kind of touch on the point of it, because I would never gamble with someone's life, right? Talking about you don't know if you're going to get died, get cancer at 5, get shot when you're 20, run over in life at 30, have traumatic experiences, not be able to figure out life and be able to help themselves. So the only way I would ever have kids is if I had all the money in the world to make sure that if they didn't, seriously, and some people are going to think this is totally wrong. Obviously, I'm not trying to set themselves up to do nothing. But if it really could not work out for them, they couldn't figure it out, and they needed support for the rest of their life, then I need to have that money to make sure that can happen. That's the only way I would ever have kids. If I knew I could take care of them for their entire life. Yeah. Again, I'm not trying to sit there and say that they don't have to work, and obviously I want to help them out with all like their passions and make life too. But no way am I going to gamble with someone's life. Because right, I'm serious. I will fight. This is like the strongest stance I have. And seriously, I will fight a death tooth and nail on this subject. That's the only way you should ever have fucking kids. Is that if it didn't work out for them, that they're going to be taken care of the rest of their life. Yeah. That's the only way you should be gambling with people's lives at this point. People don't really realize is thinking about you're bringing another conscience into this world to suffer. That's what life is absolutely is suffering and dealing with problems. And you've had a pretty good life, Kevin. Seriously. Yeah, no. Like let's talk about you. You've had a really fucking good life. What about your kids though? Did they have that same nice life, or did they have some traumatic experiences that happened to them, and now you did that? That's your responsibility, and you caused that for them. Well, I mean, you're not going to be able to protect your kids from everything, but I think you can set up your kids for a really good life, like you're saying. I agree with a lot of things you said, because before I started seriously dating with that intention, maybe to have kids or whatever, I would want to have my own successful business where I feel things are stable. I can take care of everything for my kids, right? Right. Yeah. But maybe this goes back to this discussion on the school bus about the half glass full, glass half full, half empty. I view the opposite, right? Yeah, you're right. I have had a good life. Potentially could have a rough go at it, or a tough life for a certain part of time. But I do think there's inherently a beautiful opportunity with life, and there's a lot of positive things. So I would want to give the kids the chance. I know it's a lot of people don't ask to be born, but I do think I would help guide them through any troubles I can. But life is a gift, right? And I want to I don't view it from that standpoint, they could suffer. It's but they could be happy too, And right. But there's both. You understand it's about life. You have to happy, you have to suffer and stuff. Yeah. And it's just a gamble. Just really, as long as you're willing to accept that it is a gamble, which is again why I try to want to prevent as much as possible. Which is again is back to the financial support, because that's how society works. That's what it is. So yes, I would lose a lot of respect for you if you had kids and didn't have the money to. Because again, some people are going to argue, oh, you're going to spoil them, we're going to sit around and fucking do nothing. I mean, no, I'm not saying that at all. You mentioned a business, right? I mean, that'd be perfect, right? Bring them into a business and help them already have a job set up and make some good money, and they actually really can't help you. I mean, that's really the fucking dream, because that's truly, that's nepotism, right? But still, that's the fucking dream. Yeah. But yeah, it's just right. You got to be aware. It's a gamble, and people can disagree with me. As soon as I would fight them tooth and nail over that. Seriously, my most strongest and passionate. Because again, I really don't believe I will never have kids, because I probably will never have the money to make sure that they're taken care of for the rest of their lives. Which means I have to be really emotionally mature here. And seriously, think about thinking I'm better than people. 100%, I think I'm better than people, but really having the maturity to fucking really understand that. I will never have kids. That's something I will never most likely get to experience. As much as I may want it, and the fear too of like getting older and being alone, that is fucking terrifying. How will I approach that when I get there?
Uncle Lucas is here.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, seriously. It's actually very dark to like think about getting older and being alone. It is fucking terrifying, my friend.
Yeah.
Because again, death does not scare me, but death doesn't scare me. But like, how do you get there and like, what's that look like? That is scary. That is the scary part.
You know that quote from True Detective season 1?
There's a lot of good ones. Like which one?
A man of his age, no kids, no family, no wife.
Yeah, it's a dangerous thing, right? It's scary, right? I should have got that.
Yeah, no, because that was one of your favorite quotes for the season.
Yeah, it's true. It's a man past a certain age without a family, it can be a dangerous thing, and it's true. You better believe it is scary. But again, I have to separate that biological component in my body that's like telling me to hunt like a jackrabbit and spread my seed, and realize that no, this is going to bring a lot more harm. It's hard, and right, it's emotionally charged, it's logically charged, but it's depressing. It's absolutely like depressing, and it sucks. Yeah. But I have to think about. I'm most likely never had the money to be able to take care of them fully. Yeah. To like know something like were really bad to happen and they couldn't make it, or again, fuck it. Maybe they really did say, you know what, fuck you, Dad. This life sucks. I hate my life, and I don't want to do anything. I'm gonna sit around in a fucking room because and not do anything. That's my choice. And if they somehow got in that position and that's what ended up happening, then so be it. I'll give them the money to fucking do that because that's what they're willing to like do, and that's what's happened. Again, obviously, I want to try to avoid that as much as possible. But again, that's like again somehow timeline. They could absolutely walk in a situation like that. And even then, we're also going to try to help them get out of it and shit, and kind of help them like do something and what even if it just going to like the gym, maybe it's going to go to like the gym. That's better, right? Because you can't just sit on like your ass and do absolutely like nothing.
But like just what you said, I think that's like probably one of the most rewarding stuff. Like all the mistakes you made are like remember that movie you're telling me to watch with Will Smith, the about Serena Venus Williams' father, Richard, I think, right?
Yeah, what about it that I mentioned? Because I actually really like that movie.
Oh, no. Because I remember something you took away from the film that you told me that you really liked was like he was very intentional in his lessons as a father. Like, okay, so why are we doing this? We're doing this because I want to teach you this lesson. So like I think that's one of the most valuable things.
Yeah,
like mistakes you made or like the good things you did. Hey, we're doing this because of this, right? Like, so for example, like one idea is I kind of played around, like, not that I talk about it too much already, but the jiu-jitsu, I would love to like have my kids just do that for a little bit, just because I think it's taught me a lot of great lessons about self-discipline, like breathing, having fun, right? And like that's good thing. Like some of the stuff I would avoid, where I was like, okay, like my personal laziness streak, right? Like, or like, at the time, like procrastination, like leading to me not doing stuff, right? You could help them avoid some of the stuff that hindered you in the past, right? So I think it's very cool to give like those intentional lessons and set them up for success.
Yeah, no, we can get to that in a second too. But hold on, I just want to ask you a quick question too. How long have you been doing jiu-jitsu for again? How long? Seriously?
7 months, I think.
Right, 7 months, and you're always sitting here, God, I want to have kids now, and I want to teach them this.
Oh, no, it's not the only sole purpose, but like I'm using it as an example of like whatever your like skill or like lessons are, right? You're gonna want like, oh wow, like I learned something great, like I want to teach that to my kids.
Okay, sure, you're kind of making it more general, but yeah, no, 100%, dude. Seriously, because there's a lot of clips of him. There's a lot of real life clips. They film us doing stuff and him teaching them, and that movie is very accurate. And listen, Richard Williams, the father, listen, same thing, right? Guess what? He's a storyteller and he's a seller. He was selling his fucking kids, man, the whole time. That motherfucker was marketing his kids, and he did it. I don't know how you could become like. Because I think the mother was actually, he was a stay-at-home father. He did it. He wasn't working. He dedicated all of his time to his kids, and the mother was like a nurse, so she was making like good money. So she was like the breadwinner and shit. And he would spend all the time like the kids. But I don't know how you would ever have a better father than that. I mean, seriously, if you want your kids to really be successful, seriously, the intent every day was like a lesson. Yeah. Every day was a lesson. He was really, there was a lot of love there too, but every day was a lesson. Not fucking, it's like school. He really, because remember his kids were homeschooled too. Yeah. Every day was a lesson for his kids. There was no, right, talking about YouTube shorts, there was no fucking time to waste with his kids, man. It was, right, what we're going to do today. I'm going to help you grow. And this motherfucker, and listen, that's what I'm saying. It's no accident that both his fucking daughters turned into goddamn all-star tennis players. That's not an accident. That's how amazing he was as a father, and the training that the time and effort that he spent into his kids.
Yeah.
It's absolutely doable if you're willing to spend that much time and effort.
And I do think it's like a really nice thing you see in sports too. Obviously, it can be perverted if like the parents too aggressive or like maybe like verbally abusive to the kid. We look at a lot of these examples, right? Tiger Woods and his dad, Khabib Nurmagomedov and his father, right? There's a lot of like you can tell like Khabib's dad was the same way, like very intentional. Every day you're learning something. Like
day you're learning something.
Yeah, and then you see the love like that Khabib had for his father, you know, and his training partners, right? And like I remember one funny clip, like obviously he's like fighting in front of his dad in I think Abu Dhabi, right? And he's like caught in like a guillotine from Dustin Poirier, and he was giving commentary after the match and saying like Dustin's a crazy guy. He really think I'm going to tap in front of my father.
yeah. I've seen that clip. Yeah, it's freaking crazy.
He's a crazy man.
No, again, it's awesome. I'm glad you remembered that. I'm glad you reminded me of that. Because I got no problem saying it's all about the podcast. I mean, I love putting things out there. I'm not a person to shy away from stuff. Like, listen, guess how many lessons I learned from my father?
Well, maybe it's not. I'm sure. I'm just guessing. Maybe not as much, but I do think there are lessons for your father. Like just the small amount of times that we've hung out. So. Yeah.
So here's the difference. Like again, this is the non-code.
Yeah.
Again, I'm very open about this stuff. I want people to learn. This is like you have to like learn shit. Ultimately, like I have to separate it. Like, was my father a good father? I can sit here and tell you with confidence, no, my father was a terrible father. But he's a great person.
Yeah.
He's a great person. That's how I was when he eventually dies. That's how I will celebrate this man. And that's a good father, because again, the advice and life lessons that help myself out, zero, Kevin. Yeah. I mean, like you said, like there's things I did learn from him and shit, sure. But it's more so in terms of how to be like a good person, like he's a storyteller. Right? My dad was a good storyteller. He was a big kidder, lots of jokes.
Yes.
You know, he was great about getting people's attention. Remember, he was a salesman too. He sold mobile homes.
Yeah.
You know, and he was like one of their best salesmen. He had a lot of money selling mobile homes. You know, but as a father, he was terrible. You know, because again, that intent wasn't there. And obviously, right, my parents were divorced too, so that's not like his fault. You know, maybe the opportunity for him wasn't like necessarily like there. You know, again, that's his own other kind of like shit too. But I have no problem saying that because, that is the non-cope, right? It's millennial cope, not because we want to avoid the cope when possible, right? That's the whole point in some ways too. And I'm telling you, I can say that with confidence. My father was not a good father. He's a good person. And that's how I would celebrate the man. But in terms of life lessons and shit, the guy was useless.
Yeah, but that's what I was kind of getting at. Like, you got a lot of indirect lessons from him, right? Like, there wasn't that intention, but like the storytelling thing, I think we probably only hung out, your dad, me, and you, like maybe 5 times less total. But yeah, just like I could already tell he's a great storyteller. Like, just the times we hung out, like the jokes he was making, the way he got
fantastic. The guy, I mean, he's a Chad. He was a Chad. Yeah. You know, he's 100% woman's man. I mean, this guy can get what he wanted from people, 100%.
Yeah.
And in fact, too, even going to go like a little further. I mean, sometimes that's actually how you get the best out of them. When they're like he was hanging around like my other like friends and stuff and people. That's when he was kind of more open and willing to teach things. Because I guess I don't know what would make that come out of him with like more people around, you know.
Yeah.
But because he's a people person, so he's opening up and he's like more in that mood to like teach lessons and like.
Yeah.
So some of the best moments I have is with like in terms of like learning from him was with like my friends, like you and other people around, and he would come from that point because again he wasn't a good father. He was a good people person. So to learn from him, he has to be around people.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? It's not simple, but it's true.
Yeah. No. For sure. Like, and I think obviously, I mean, we have to learn our own the lessons. Like, you have to learn the big principles and lessons by.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You're like a father to me, Kevin. You're a father to me. You're a father, a brother, and a friend all in one.
Well, Actually, okay, this is kind of funny. So I want to bring up maybe like 2 points. Like, ever since we watched Queen's Gambit, like, we had the inside joke that we're each other's like Russian chess team, right? So we'll confide and also like just game plan like long term decisions. So your profile pic on my contacts on my phone is still that Russian guy, like doing this, thinking about chess. But like when I was saying like, hey, we had to learn our own lessons too. So it's like for me, I think I had a really great dad. Like I remember actually just one lesson when I was young, maybe 3 or 4. He like when we lived in LA, Venice Beach, he would make me go to the store and like buy food and pay for it myself, right? And he wanted to teach me independence and like autonomy, stuff like that, right? And like all these like little lessons about like learning too. Like he was also like a voracious reader, so I think I get a lot of like that from my dad. But like my dad unfortunately died when I was like I think around like 11 or 12. So like I'm glad I had him for the time he was here, right? But like I would be lying with you. Like maybe like things are a little bit better if he was there for my whole.
No, yeah, that's unfortunate for you. That's like the worst case scenario, right? You actually did have a good dad and you were learning things and he was taking from you.
Yeah.
You have to figure out things for like yourself. That makes you stronger, though. I mean, that may be like some cold bullshit. Obviously, if he was here, that would be better. But that is the circumstances and the hand that like you were dealt. So you have to learn the lesson from that too.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
Like you have, like you're stronger for, like you are stronger for that.
Yeah,
I 100% do believe that. That's again, maybe a little cope, but it's true.
Yeah. Like, and I'll just say, for both of us, we have to teach ourselves certain lessons, and like be disciplined in our own ways. But yeah, no, dude, like I'm so glad we know each other and we're helping each other grow. And
well, I'll definitely help you grow too, because like I said, I'm really strong on that shit. I'm telling you right now, if that really does happen, you really do get to having kids, I'll definitely keep you in check, man. I wouldn't fucking allow one like my best friend or someone I know to sit there and do it any like less kind of like way.
Yeah.
You're going to do it the right way, or you're going to fucking our friendship is going to be in jeopardy.
You are you excited to be called Uncle Lucas?
I mean, that would be awesome. I think I can 100% because I get like the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
I can teach, have like fun and shit. Because again, like seriously, that's what I tell like Kaylin too. Like, because like her sister has like 2 kids,
Yeah.
And like, I mean, there's just so many lessons and stuff to like learn and like do things. I mean, seriously, like you need to be teaching them about right because again, like what's so much more useful nowadays is like teaching kids about money. Like, right? Because, school subjects, like, they're, like, useful and shit, sure, whatever. But ultimately, these subjects aren't going to get people anywhere nowadays, right? You need to be teaching people about computers and money, right? When a person really understands a dollar, and hell, I'm not even sure if I still do. But even with that, how much I've, like, learned, all I know is that's got me a lot further than anything that school has. Is understanding, like, about the dollar. What you can really do with a dollar and these opportunities, those are kind of lessons, like, you want to be a part of people. Not, here, learn a fucking quadratic equation. It's fucking useless.
Oh, okay.
And again, like going to college, and I guess I'm saying, if I could do college over again, I would just be making like connections. I would 100% be totally fine getting all C's in college and just like networking with like people. Because again, college, when I got it, like what I got from it was growing as a person. I don't think I could be the person I am today without college. College absolutely broke me out of my shell. Like whatever kind of awkwardness, bullshit, like I really became my own person through like college. It was beautiful. I finally saw what it meant to grow as a person and become something like to be proud of. But you don't go into college and fucking like, like you gotta be like really focused and shit too and stuff. And yeah, I would love to like, impart the kind of like knowledge to like your kids.
Yeah. Well, dude.
So, yeah, this was, oh my God, I can write. It all makes sense now. I can have kids through you, like vicariously, because I don't have the money, but you will. So you can take care of the kids because I'm happy. I'm just see if I can get like weird now, baby. Yeah, we can go like we can go like real weird with this, bro. We can get real weird if we want to. The total like like this clown world bullshit.
Yeah.
Like I don't even want to get into.
No. Like I what really stuck out to me is like you talk about money. Like, I think that's another topic we go into too, because I love when we discuss about like what money is and like what it can do and us planning long term. So I'm going to let this percolate and think about this because I think we can go a lot into the psychology of money.
No, absolutely. But again, yeah, just better my thing. Again, 100%. You know, if you're really going to go through with that and drink a style, trust me, I'll definitely keep you like in check.
Yeah.
And
Well,
again, the first thing though to keep you in check is you gotta have the money to make sure that if everything fucking went wrong, again, that they're taking care of the rest of their life.
Yeah.
I'm serious. Again, if you don't agree with that, then we're gonna have problems.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. I want to make sure they're taken care of. But like obviously with big choices, like I'm gonna get your input. Like so, hey, like seems to be going well with this lady. Like what do you think about her? Right? You know, like as you would ask like all your friends and family, right? Like you want a good objective opinion because like it's easy to get lost in the sauce, right? Not be objective.
Well, it sounds like you fucking will. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Listen, all your problems are going to be solved, and all that stuff becomes minuscule the more money you have.
Yeah.
So again, so I'm saying I'm glad you're open to the idea. That's what I like, right? You're open to the idea, and for you to really be open to it more means having $1 million fucking business. I guarantee you'll be really fucking open to it then if you get $1 million business.
Yeah.
I guarantee you then you'll fucking absolutely want to start that fucking family. But again, like right now, I mean, you're waiting. That's why I mentioned, like, you could be 50, 60, like years old and have kids. Fucking I mean, I know so many people like in their 80s now. Those rich motherfuckers that have kids in their 80s, you know, sperm still works, you know. Yeah. So yeah, but don't sell yourself short. 50, 60 years old, there's no reason why you couldn't start then. Seriously.
Yeah. Well, my dad had me when he was 55.
There you go. Shoot for 55 then. 55 is the bare minimum for Kevin to even seriously.
I don't know about that. Like, I don't want to be that old, but like, maybe like, I think at the end of the day, we both agree, like, you want to be financially stable so you can provide for your family.
Yeah, again, that goes back to some other problems. Sure, you don't want to be that old, then you better get to the fucking $1 million business.
Yeah, exactly.
That should be your first step, right? You're serious? Get the $1 million fucking business underneath like your belt. Make that dream come like a reality. And then at that point, you get a thumbs up, like, go ahead and have the kids. It makes sense now. You're fucking rich. You're rich. Have to do whatever the fuck you want. Bring me along for the ride.
Please write this down or like in the future, because I think it'd be funny, like call back, and I'll forget about by then when I do have that multi-million-dollar business. Just text me, please. Like, hey, Kevin, congratulations on winning capitalism.
Yeah, I'm about working for you. Let me tap into that nepotism. Like, you know, like, yeah, man, I'm sure there's going to be lots of positions at the company that I can help out with. Catch my drift.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Well, no,
yeah. I want to be a part of the fucking journey. I can help out for sure.
Well, dude, and that's why I'm glad that you convinced us to the podcast too, because I think, you know, with your own video editing, I got to get on myself, but dude, we literally had the opportunity to build a brand or network of like entertainment or education or what's it called, like just content generation, right? Like Mr. Beast is a good example, right? Like obviously he has a whole empire now. Like we could have maybe not that size, like who knows, but you basically have a whole network of channels that you can build like that multi-million-dollar business, right? Like this is a really great thing to be in because your skills are going to improve. You're going to be just able to build these great storytelling pieces of content, right? So like, who knows where this goes, but this could be another avenue, like where you become really good at what you do and I do, like in terms of podcasting, creating YouTube videos, right? So this could be our multi-million-dollar business. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I just keep improving, man. Again, we're already doing the right thing, and we just gotta keep it improving.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, again, back to the whole like, just jumping backwards again. Yeah, you asked me like, yeah, like, do I want kids still? Again, like the bare minimum for me would be, yeah, if I had the money. I just don't see that ever happening. So for me, it's just completely off the table. But even if I did get the money, would I consider it then? I mean, maybe it opens up a little bit, but even then, I think I would be very, very fucking hesitant.
Yeah.
You know, like if I was really into that, I think adoption would make the most sense in terms of how I think and feel. And like adoption would make the most fucking sense.
That'd be really nice.
Yeah, exactly. Someone was conscious as brought into here, they're suffering. And I got an opportunity to help them out. That's what makes the most sense. Yeah. But for me to bring someone into this world, suffer along like with me, again, I got to have the money first. And I just don't think it's in the cards for me, man. So that's where I'm coping at. That's my cope. But yeah, I mean, we've been going for a long time here. I mean, just any like last comments? I got to kind of like last comments.
I'm excited to see where we're going. I think the big thing is, like we talked about, if I could wrap it up, is no matter what you do, like I always feel very strongly about this, and like I'm biased towards it, but like you should be very careful and intentional. I think that's a big word, intentional, and like how you align yourself with like potential advertisements and brands, right? Because I do think you have a moral responsibility to your audience or viewers, or you have a business, your clients, right? You have to deliver some value at some point. If not, I think that's just the moral area you don't want to be in, right? You're essentially just vampiring off of your audience, or your clients. And then the other thing, like when we're talking about attention, is, the lessons you give, like making sure you can afford the responsibility to do something, right? So if you want kids, like you got to be able to afford to have them. And then finally,
not even just afford to be able to have them, sorry, but not just to be able to afford. That if everything fucking hits the fan, they're set for fucking life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which again, I know is not reasonable for fucking 99% of the population. But again, sorry, go ahead.
And then like the final point is I think we hit on some pretty interesting economic things too, like in terms of politics, or like how people make decision making, right? So people are feeling squeezed right now, and there's going to be responses that will reverberate for the next decade.
Yeah, no, great. Actually, I thought something too. Yeah, no, because again, why don't more people doing this? Yeah, 100%. I'm pretty sure this is totally legal, right? You can set up an investment account as soon as your child is born, right? You should start investing in that, right? Get them fucking, because again, that's 18 fucking years of investing money into an account just for fucking them. They're fucking going to be $500,000 fucking rich by the time they're fucking, 18. Yeah. And then fucking, then give them access to the 30. They're fucking already a fucking millionaire. So that's 100% the first thing I'm going to hold you to. As soon as your fucking child's born, you open an investment account in their fucking name. It's their fucking money. Start putting money into it. Yeah. Right? It's not possible. That's like possible, right? I'm pretty sure I'm not fucking up my ass.
I think there's ways to do that. You just got to make sure you have a good account.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. People don't really think about that, right? I mean, imagine, that's what I'm saying. I've seen some people argue that the government should like do that. As soon as like you're born, you should already have like an investment account through like the government that they're putting money in there. So by the time like you're fucking like 18 years old, you're like, oh, I've seen that mentioned. That's kind of more out there shit, but it's interesting to think about. Anyways, more people should be doing that, and 100% will hold you to that. And like again, we're talking about, we're excited to like go and shit. And listen, that's why I was so excited today to talk about the politics and things, right? Where this country's at, where it's going, because it's getting kind of crazy out. Is it getting crazier out there, or is it just me?
Okay, so that's definitely going to be the podcast title. Wait, can you say that again? Can you say that again?
You know where that's from, right?
No, but
that's from the Joker.
Oh,
right?
okay. Whoa.
Yeah. He's like, is it just me, or is it getting kind of crazy? Got crazier out there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's the podcast episode.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't think that's really kind of sums up. I mean, we haven't been really negative. We've been pretty positive. I don't think that'd be a good title.
Yeah.
I don't think that'd be a good title. Okay. But just like we're all moving forward. Things are like trying to be aware of it and stuff. And again, kind of back to what I said like earlier too. It's like, don't be mad at the parties. Don't be mad at the people. Again, like I said, I mean, I'm voting certain ways because that's what makes sense, right? If you're mad at me, I mean, you say, vote what makes sense. Vote what makes sense. Do what makes sense.
Yeah.
This is like what's happening, I mean, these things are like a reflection on us and on the parties. So, I mean, don't be getting mad at people. I mean, that's not fucking sports shit, My team's better than like your team. That's so dumb.
Yeah. I at least I feel this way. I think that at the end of the day, you want to make your life as anti-fragile as possible. So what I mean by that is like, you want to have so much like money or like resources where, a lot of things that happen around you like don't necessarily affect you, right? So like you just want to escape the need to rely on certain stuff. It's just like that freedom, right? You want freedom from all these external pressures.
Right. I mean, you can use that metaphorically too, like anti-fragile. Yeah, people are fucking very fragile. They get upset. Like, don't worry about where people's money are coming from, and let's go, Brandon. I mean, it's just the stupidity of it. I mean, I don't care if you like lose viewers like that. I mean, seriously, I don't. Because again, I believe if you're a millennial, like if you're in our age group or like lower watching this podcast, you're not offended by any of this crap. Like you did it. So I'm saying, well, people getting offended by this crap are like 40+ year old people, man. have to sit there and say that stupid shit. Because again, like I know that's why I sound like I'm like a centrist kind of thing, whatever. Like I just do what like makes sense, and you should do what makes sense. Right? So I'm saying, like, you want me voting like, well, if you want me voting Republican, like I hope I get there. I hope I can vote Republican one day. I would love to. But right now, yeah, guess what I'm voting? I'm voting Democrat. I feel like it makes the most sense. I don't know if it is or not, but just again, understand why people are doing these things. If you can't, at least don't be fucking butthurt about it anyways, you know? Yeah. Like just do, because again, you're going to do what makes sense for like you. So understand why I'm doing what I'm doing. You know, you don't know if it's right or wrong. You never will. But yeah, I just want that, you know, trying to spread some love, like peace here, you know? Like I respect people voting like Republican and stuff. I respect people that vote Democrat. You know, do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Don't hit me over the head with the coconut and try to steal my shit.
Hey, I don't know, dude. I'm looking at this lot of available coconuts. Watch out.
It's crazy stuff, man. This was a good podcast. I like this. I like getting like emotionally invested in things. It feels good.
And you know why you like it? Because I'm selling you, bro.
Yeah, I know. I've been playing. You scamming. Someone scam. That's fucking dark to think about. This entire time that like one of us is trying to like, you know, sell the other person something, right? Someone's scamming the other person more than like, yeah.
Hey,
that's just the way I go.
Lucas, have you heard about Scientology?